All right, here to talk tourism is Gina Gemberling. She is the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau CEO, and we've got Jim Keet, who is the chairman of the Little Rock Advertising and Promotion Commission, which is the governing board that oversees the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's complicated, so. And you are obviously, you're big into the hospitality business too. You got a lot going on with restaurants and construction and everything.
We do.
So, yeah.
It's very exciting times.
Yes.
We have 19 restaurants now, 14 of which will be in Little Rock, but we're also in Oklahoma, and then I have a restaurant in Birmingham, Alabama, and so we're pretty busy.
Good.
We have 5 under construction, so we're very excited.
Glad to have you guys here. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau new tourism plan for Little Rock, Central Arkansas. This is a 10-year plan, Gina. I want you to tell me kind of what went into the thought process of why we needed to do this.
This is the first tourism master plan that LRCVB, it's a first-time initiative for us. Coming out of the pandemic, that it hit tourism so awfully hard. We felt it was really time to look at our product, look at LRCVB, and bring in a consulting company that would put together a tourism master plan for us. In that process, it included talking and having interviews, listening sessions with over 500 local residents, community leaders, and residents as well. And that's what came up with the plan that ended with several priorities and recommendations.
Jim, what did you learn that you didn't know before? Because you've been around a while. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say you're old. I'm just saying you're experienced is what I'm saying. So, but I bet you learned something new.
I didn't learn anything new. Are you kidding? I already knew it all. No, the whole impetus behind it was to make sure that we had somebody from the outside that could be very objective in looking at our entire organization, where we're going, how we were serving the community and the state. And so Gina did a great job of sorting through the potential vendors, picking JLL that has done a magnificent job of working with the staff to say what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, how do we get better, and more importantly, how do we incorporate that into a longer term plan rather than year by year. So when Gretchen Hall was here, she did a fantastic job navigating through a lot of the COVID related stuff and all that. And then as she went to be the CEO of DI International, which is a huge hospitality organization worldwide, which is a tribute to her and the job that she did here, Gina took her place. We could have done a nationwide search, we could have done all kinds of things, but we had the right person. And that move has proved to be the right one, and we're on a fantastic track going forward that we think will serve the community really well.
I got him on the record. You got job security, Gina. You got that right there. So.
Well, at least until I retire as chairman.
Big takeaways from this study and this 10-year plan. What would you say are some of the top lines?
Sure. One thing that really interests me when I relocated to Little Rock was the tourism infrastructure that community leaders previously have done, from the Clinton Library all the way to the Robinson Center. You have the full mile there, a little over a mile, of just tourism, including Riverfront Park and the Sculpture Garden. So what I was excited about the master plan is it's building on that infrastructure. How can we build on what we already have to make Little Rock a longer length of stay for our visitors that come, and offer them a better experience?
I think one of those things is going to be the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts when it comes online next year. What do you see that doing in terms of maybe potentially transforming what is already a pretty strong downtown tourism attraction area?
We think it's so exciting. I mean, investing over $100 million. I don't know the exact number that it is going to.
150.
150, yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's going to be a fantastic crown jewel for the city and the state. And so, led by the Stevens family once again, just putting their impetus behind it, being involved with actually 3 different boards who all collaborated on making that happen. And it really is going to be magnificent. What a lot of people don't know, most people don't know, first of all, they don't know what the Convention and Visitors Bureau is or what our mission is, but what we do is not just promote the city in the region, nationally and internationally, but we actually, it's kind of an anomaly, we actually run all this stuff. Yeah. We run the convention, the State House Convention Center, Robinson Auditorium, the Oppenheimer Building, the Cromwell Building, the amphitheater, and all the parking lots. So we have a multiple mission, if you will, where we don't just promote the city, we actually run it. So it's both an advantage and a disadvantage. But we have a couple of hundred employees now, part-time and full-time. And Gina has done a magnificent job with her staff of, first of all, developing a very talented, diverse staff that has rebuilt everything after COVID.
Yeah.
Done a magnificent job.
What are we seeing in numbers in terms of the rebound that's happening? I know statewide, when we look at some things, you see the trend line is just incredibly upward. So what's the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau's
We tend to compare
trajectory?
ourselves to hotel occupancy and then our revenues coming into our organization. Right now, revenues are really, really strong, but when we look at 22, overall occupancy, we still had not yet hit that occupancy level that we were pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Right, in 2019.
What are we going to be talking about 10 years from now as a result of this planning and what you got in mind right here? Where do you anticipate we'll be? Gina, I'll go you first, Jim second. So.
Well, I know where I'd like to be, but
Hey, retired does not count, okay? So.
The master plan is a vision for tourism for Little Rock. There's so many parts of that. You know, we like to call it, it's not just LRCVB's master plan, it's the whole community. So a lot of items in that master plan are long-term visions, and expansion of the convention center, for example, added sports facilities with indoor and outdoor, things that we feel is needed for tourism. So hopefully we'll have the community support and we'll work with the community to make some of those things come to
What
fruition.
does an expanded convention center do in terms of ability to recruit bigger types of conventions?
Well, first of all, you're somewhat limited if you don't have the capacity for the number of attendees that you're hoping to go get. So there's kind of a ceiling, if you will, of the number of people that you can go recruit. And by expanding the convention center, it will automatically mean that you expand the market.
Yeah.
So that we can go after.
Where does the money come from for that? Where does the money come from for all of this, do you think?
Yeah. I'll let you speak to that.
We are
Passing the buck there.
We
all right.
are
No, I'm just
primarily-
giving an opportunity.
We're primarily funded by prepared food taxes,
Right.
so your restaurant tax as well as hotel occupancy taxes, and then additionally we do have revenues that come in from the facilities we manage.
But for a capital expansion like what you're talking about and some of that investment, that's probably something outside of normal operating costs.
Correct, and we're going to really have to look deep and do some research and see what we can come up with and be creative to make that happen.
All right.
One of the differences, Roby, if you have a plan on paper and you spend a lot of time, money, effort putting that plan together, and then it is just put back with all the other stuff in the library and you don't act upon it, it's a worthless project. So what we're committed to, and a big part of the plan, is how we implement this over the next decade. And so there are specific steps within the plan on accountability and everything else on how we get from where we are today, which is a pretty good place. If you compare how we do to other CBBs nationally, we do a pretty darn good job. And my predecessors doing things like a $63 million renovation of Robinson Auditorium as an example. You know, we are spending millions of dollars right now on State House Convention Center. Just the new panels to separate the various segments of the convention center are $1.5 million. Just for those movable panels. We just spent over $1 million on new chairs. You know, so we are taking steps every day post-COVID to kind of catch up on some of the capital expenditures that we couldn't really afford to do as we were feeling our way through all of that, and now we are aggressively reinvesting in all of our facilities to make them the best, even with their existing size.
Yeah, it's exciting times. I'm looking forward to it. As a native of the city, you know, I mean, it's exciting to see some long-term planning go into effect, and it's exciting to see a lot of this stuff that's going to be coming online. So thank y'all for being here to share the vision.
Great to see you.
And explain everything. Gina, Jim, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. We're back to wrap up right after this.